good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. End of another week. It's a Friday morning here on the Spice Island, and let me tell you, pilgrims, it's a very, very rainy morning here. We've had early morning showers, and looks like they're going to be around for a little while. Just 5 minutes ago, before I came in here, it was coming down bucket a drop. Yeah, so I do hope that you did take your umbrella to work with you today. And if you're going to be walking down Market Hill, please be very careful, okay? You don't want to go tumbling down like I did recently. Hazel is first this morning, Ernesto, Anthea, Rodney Morris. Hello there, Rodney. And Margaret is saying good morning. Good to see you folks. Pilgrims, let's take a look at what's cooking here for the next hour or so. I want to play a video for you this morning that was circulated yesterday. As you watch this, ask yourself this question. Has the election campaign begun? We're what, about 3 years away? Don't know. Take a look, you'll see why I'm asking that question. And yes, we do have for you the national report. This being Friday, I confess I have not yet spoken with him this morning, but I'll tell you, we're looking forward to Mr. Pitt's Friday Pitt-stop this morning. And depending on what time he shows up, we may get started about 9:15, or we will go the normal route, which is about 9:30. There's Mr. There's Mr. Pitt, man. Speak of the guy, and he pops up. Good morning, Mr. Pitt. Not sure you're hearing me, but good morning. So just let's glance back here for a minute. Kipling saying good morning. Anthea says, we're having showers too, George. Rainy night and day in Georgia. It's a rainy night in Georgia, yeah. So we're not alone. Peter Bishop saying good morning from Brooklyn. Joan Wellington, good morning, Principal George and class. Happy and blessed Friday to everyone. Jennifer Myers is also there saying good morning and greetings from New York, the Big Apple. Arthur Langine's also in the Big Apple, and he's saying happy Friday to everyone. Rachel John is saying good morning as well. Nice to see you folks. Now, let's take a look at this video that I told you about. The Grenadian government yesterday issued another spectacular, I love to give credit where credit is due, spectacular video. It's the second one in just about a week. This time, it showcases the achievements, past and present, of the present administration. It also accuses the opposition elements in the country of trying to destabilize the government. Yeah, take a look.
I love my Grenada, my homeland forever. Sing the chorus louder, tell them about Grenada, the land of my grandfather. She will always prosper. Oh, my Grenada, land of peace and culture.
Pure Grenada, the small but beautiful and unspoiled tri-island state of Grenada, Carriacou and Petite-Martinique is located in the Caribbean with a population of just about 100,000 people. Led by Eric Matthew Gary, Grenada got its independence in 1974 from Great Britain and had 7 prime ministers since independence. Keith Mitchell is the country's sitting prime minister and is also the longest-serving prime minister in Grenada's history. He is described as one of the most visionary, respected, and accomplished leaders in the world. The large majority of Grenadians are happy with his leadership, and in 3 national elections, the people have voted and gave his party an unprecedented clean sweep at the polls. Prime Minister Mitchell has guided Grenada through difficult periods such as the rebuilding process after the passage of Hurricane Ivan in 2004 and the rebuilding of the economy after 5 years of the NDC administration that ran 2008 to 2013. During that period, the NDC government became bankrupt and was unable to manage the economy. They had to resort to selling multiple government properties to the NIS to pay salaries of public workers. At no time during that period was any public officer able to get an increase in salary or increments owed to them. The NDC government was plagued with infighting and scandal. After just 2 years in office, the NNP government paid public officers increases and increments owed to them for the period 2009 to 2012 to the tune of $58 million. An additional 10% increase in salaries was paid for the period 2017 to 2019. A total of over $110 million was paid during these periods. Officers have been relieved from financial uncertainty as they have been receiving salaries on time every month thereafter. With support from social partners, government was also able to successfully implement a 3-year homegrown structural adjustment program. As a result of this remarkable leadership and ability to manage the economy, the World Bank, in 2018, recognized Prime Minister Mitchell as the most outstanding finance minister in the region. The country continues to move on an impressive upward trajectory and is promoted as a model destination and economy not merely in a regional but international basis, as investors have been finding Grenada to be a safe, peaceful and excellent climate to do business. But how is the NNP government seen locally? The party has been branded by the majority as a party for all that has transformed the economic landscape of the country while providing for the social needs of ordinary people, especially the poor and vulnerable. This social approach of the government has been attacked and labeled by the NDC for the needy and greedy. Although this labeling has angered many Grenadians across party lines and has attempted to sow seeds of discord among various socio-economic groupings, the NNP has remained steadfast in its philosophy and continues to support the poor and vulnerable. Over the last 7 years, over $70 million was spent on house repair. Additionally, 353 housing units were distributed to families throughout Grenada and 647 more are currently under construction. Hundreds of scholarships are granted every year as a strategy to lift families out of poverty and to empower them. That is why the government spends more than $50 million every year to support Grenadian students studying at universities in Grenada and abroad. As a means of providing further support to families, government paid out over $17 million through the SEED program to assist parents to support their children's education and to meet the basic needs of senior citizens. The government plans to further expand its social programs in 2020 so more people can benefit. To be able to sustain these social programs while at the same time investing in major capital projects such as road enhancement and community development initiatives, government has adopted a multifaceted approach to raise revenue. One such means is the Citizens by Investment program, which has led to significant investment opportunities. This has had a ripple effect, resulting in thousands of jobs for locals and increased business for local companies. It has also reduced the need for increased taxes. In addition to the many projects already started, such as the Silver Sands Hotel, which opened about a year ago, at least 4 more hotels are earmarked to start construction work in St. Patrick's and St. David's. Projects that will rebound to significant benefits for people in the rural parishes, including farmers, fishermen, and the unemployed. This multi-pronged approach to economic development can explain why the government, on returning to the office, has been able to reduce unemployment figures from over 40% under the NDC in 2013 to 15.1% in the first quarter of 2019. Government's focus is now on developing a comprehensive training program to prepare people for thousands of jobs that are forthcoming. The government must be credited for a huge reduction in the national debt. During the 2008 election campaign, the NDC accused the NNP of incurring high national debt, but the NNP has always argued that the debt, which was incurred mainly for major government projects, is not the real issue. The party has explained that the most important issue regarding the national debt is the country's ability to repay its debts. With this philosophy in mind, government was able to successfully reduce the debt to GDP from 108% to 55.8% in just 7 years. This outstanding achievement provides additional room for government to create far more opportunities for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitt-stop. On November 19th, during his annual budget speech, Prime Minister Mitchell announced a $1.46 billion budget. One of the biggest focus of the government in this new budget will be to improve healthcare services. Already, millions have been committed to a national health insurance initiative, and JIPA, a US-based company led by a Grenadian, Dr. Ned, was contracted to lead the process. Responding to a recent video created by a foreign company, coordinated and marketed by opposition elements in Grenada, with the intention to destroy the reputation of Prime Minister Mitchell and to destabilize the government, key supporters of the ruling party say that it is unfortunate that opposition elements in the country will choose to put selfish ambitions and party politics before country, going out of the way to discredit the country internationally with lies and rumors. But Prime Minister Mitchell says his focus now is on building Grenada and providing opportunities for the people, and as a result, he will not allow himself to be drawn into an opposition's strategy aimed at derailing the success of the country. Despite the local party politics in Grenada, the tri-island state of Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitt-stop continues to be a shining star in the region and a beacon of hope for the economic prosperity of the Caribbean region.
All right, so there you have it. That's the video. And by the way, that video is titled Grenada, a Ray of Hope. All right? And again, I must say, I got to be fair here. I haven't got a clue who put that video together, but I'll tell you, I want to salute the person for the photography they did, or videography they did in that package. Needless to say, that sparked a few comments here on social media, so let me scroll back here. Arthur Langine says, Brother George, they didn't ask me how I feel about the rule of government. Okay, Arthur. Sit around and wait. John Nozinek says, read the government video. Having heard this earlier today, 2 questions come to mind. 1, is the PM's reputation ailing? No. 2, will he be calling an early election? This, in my humble opinion, is a damage limitation attempt, so says John. Peter Bishop says, during the period of the 2 NDC administrations, how many public officers took the government to court for wrongful dismissal? Okay. Anthea Rello says, in my humble opinion, what are they trying to defend here? To me, if you are doing so good and are on the up and up, your good works will be seen, and you would not have to point it out. There is a Bible verse which says, and I quote, by their fruits you shall know them, unquote. You have nothing to hide because you did no wrong. No need to prove anything. Stoops. I like the way she spells Stoops, S-T-U-P-E-S, Stoops. Brian, did you know how to spell Stoops? Don't answer. You'll tell me in just a wee bit. Dave Bertrand saying good morning, says he's sorry to be late. Peter Bishop's also saying here, is it by accident? No mention is made of the first-class health sector, nor the thriving agricultural sector. Good attempt, NNP, but we see through your lies. Margaret says, they think everybody stupid. C-H-U-P-I-D, stupid. See the things you learn here? Forget about stupid. Stupid, so says Max. Kipling Francis says, why do people accuse others of exactly what they're doing? Joan Wellington is asking a question here. Is Al Jazeera the opposition? And Ernesto Jose says, good morning, George and families. What kind of health care do we have in Grenada? I have a family member who went to the General Hospital on Wednesday because she was having a miscarriage. She spent the whole of Thursday, and not a single procedure was done on her because they claimed they're backed up with a number of pregnancies. We're hoping that something will get done today, Friday, because she is still witnessing lots of pain. Peter Belfont says, I can't comment on this yet. I have to drink my cocoa tea. I have to drink my cocoa tea first. Yes, Peter. Benedict Cador says they're still trying to do damage control from the passport issue. They think they are explaining where the money went. John Franco says it's called politics. Claude Button says, good morning to you. I'm sorry to be late. Margaret says, welcome to the healthcare Grenadian style. I wish your relative well. So says Mags. Okay. There are a couple other people who showed up here a little while ago. Just want to say a quick hello to them. Francis Anselm and John Franco. Good morning to you guys. Now, on Wednesday, we had 4 cruise ships in here. I showed you pictures of all of those, right? And about 8,500 people in that neighborhood. Yesterday, we had 2 biggies in here. And again, we had about 8,000 people. Well, guess what? This morning, let me show you very quickly here. Who's in here this morning? Let's start with the little one. There's the little one. This one's called the Silver Shadow. And I say little, she only has about 382. A capacity of only 382. But then, take a look at this big mama. This one is the Britannia, and she has 3,642, a capacity of 3,642. So another 4,000 people. Now, when you add that all up, 8 and 8, 16 and 40, this week alone, you have about 20,000 people. 20,000 people, you're talking about 1/5 of our population. And here, I feel sorry for them because it's pouring outside. Anyhow, right now, let me cue up this thing here to say good morning to Pilgrim, Mr. Pitt. There he is. Good morning, Mr. Pitt, and how are you this morning?
Good morning, George. Season's greetings.
Many happy returns, sir. You going to play Santa Claus for George since the real Santa Claus ignores him?
Mother Nature has a funny way of dealing with us, you know. Instead of snow, we get rain. But something is falling from heaven.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Hopefully it's purifying us. Let's keep our pinkies crossed.
It's what?
I said it's purifying us. Hopefully.
Ah, yes.
Let me see here. Okay. So, Mr. Pitt, what's up your sleeve this morning?
Well, George, I had a look at that video, and you know, a couple of things just jumped out at me.
Jumped?
One of them, I think somebody mentioned, this is damage control, to be quite honest with you. But what is more important, George, for work of this nature, somebody usually takes credit for it. It's good work. So in order to get future jobs, there should be some credit to say that it was done by company ABC, who the director is and who the producers are. I am hoping that this is not the GIS, George, because there seem to be some blurred lines between the GIS, the government of Grenada, and the party, NNP. You know, and I'm concerned of those lines being blurred, George. I also wondered who paid for that tape. George, who paid to have it done? Again, we're talking about sources of funds for campaigns. Yes, George? So there are a lot of questions arising from this tape, and there's a fingerprint on this tape, George. It's very similar to the last tape that we saw concerning Al Jazeera, the Al Jazeera documentary. You were going to say something?
Yes, what I was going to say is, you're asking who paid for the tape. The person who sent this to me, and by the way, the person sent it to me 4 times, okay? Wanted to make sure that I really saw it. I noticed that in there, the NNP featured very, very prominently, and this goes along with what you're suggesting about the blurred line between the GIS and party.
Yes, you see, George, I am becoming convinced that it's going to be virtually impossible for an opposition party in the Caribbean to win an election going forward. If Dominica is any example, that Al Jazeera tape did nothing for the results of the elections in Dominica. And the party in power will have access to all kinds of funds. Now, one might very well argue, Brian, we didn't pay for that. But that tape has a value. Yes, George?
Yes.
And that value has to be, we have to put a monetary value on that documentary. What did it cost? And who is it meant for? No, it's not meant for me and you. Or you and I, sorry. It's meant for the rank and file, and again, talking points for those people who enable us. There are questions coming out of that video, George.
Which one? Which one? Hold on. Which one? The Al Jazeera one or the one you just watched?
The one we just watched.
Okay.
There seems to be a growing dependence on the CBI program. There's a growing dependence on the CBI program. And I asked myself the question, now, where is the government getting its revenue from? I've been convinced, George, since the increase in the price of passports, that we are going to be paying more for government services as we go along. Yes, George? Any service that government is providing to us will have to be increased in prices. There will be some increase in prices. Not only the government, but sanitary organizations. Because the sources of revenue for the government of Grenada seem to be kind of drying up. Yes? So the John Public should be a bit concerned, George, that he's going to see some increases in prices that was not budgeted for as we go through the next 12 months.
In preparation for March 3 years from now.
The other thing that jumped out at me, George, was the partnership with the social partners. And I asked myself the question, how important are the social partners in the governance of this country? Are they part of government? Are they condoning what is going on in Grenada right now? Are they part of the fundraising apparatus? What role are they playing? Because I'm not hearing voices in disagreement with what is going on, George.
Well, you asked 2 questions there, and I'm going to take on the last one. You're asking about the social partners. I've often asked, how come we're not hearing from the Conference of Churches about all that's going on here? How come we're not hearing from civil society? How come we're not hearing from the Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce? Brian, come on. Okay?
But George, and they were mentioned, the social partners were mentioned in that tape.
Yeah.
So I have to believe that they are part of the governance of the country, and that they, in fact, will be satisfied with what is happening. Yeah. George.
Before you go any further, Joan Wellington says, people People, don't feel blinded. We all know we are blessed with a beautiful country, but it is moving away from us. And Margaret says, Brian, you're quite right about opposition parties in the region being able to win elections going forward, unless they have enormous amounts of funds. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, George. And, you know, when I briefly look at the budget, George, one of the reasons and purposes for a budget is to provide incentives for sectors that might not be doing very good. Yeah? I think most of us will admit that agriculture is not doing too good. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't see too many incentives for agriculture outside of the feeder road project. And I believe that we have been building feeder roads now for many years. And those roads have not increased the production in the agriculture sector. Yes, George? Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, what the feeder roads have done is open up agricultural land to commerce. Yes? Mm-hmm. So it is working in the opposite direction than the intention should be. And that is for feeder roads. The other thing a budget is supposed to do, George, is try to put some kind of control on areas that might be getting out of hand. Now, I believe we have a problem with cars in the country, George.
Yes.
Now, somebody told me that the budget addressed this issue by saying that you now cannot import cars over 10 years. I think that is a little too late. Yeah, the cat is already out of the bag. We have a lot of derelict vehicles. There are a lot of wear and tear on the roads. There are a lot of side street mechanics turning up now because people need to fix these cars. You know, so I don't know that the budget has addressed the issues that can make this economy better. You know, this whole idea, and I'm going to mention it again because I believe it's important, of payday lenders. And this is something that the IMF wrote in the report. We have not addressed that as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know. But somebody can correct me on that one.
Somebody named Loxley Bowen says the feeder roads is another means to pocket the dollars.
Of course, George, because, I mean, the history has told us that, I mean, a road may cost $1,000 to build, and it can come in at $2,000, and somebody benefits from $1,000 by overpricing it. I mean, that's been the history of how you move money around, yeah? Yes, George? Yeah. There's also mention about the unemployment rate moving from 40% to 15%, George.
Yeah.
If I look at a working population in Grenada of about 70,000 people, that means we have created about 21,000 jobs in the last 7 years. I would like to know where those 21,000 jobs are. If they are sustainable jobs or they're just jobs that you have people cleaning the side of the road or the bushing, and that is considered a job every time they clean the side of the road. Yeah. So there are a lot of areas of concern in that video that I believe one can argue that it's not truthful in terms of how well this country and this economy is doing. But then again, the video was not meant for you and I. It was meant for the rank and file and talking points for those people who are enabling this whole thing to continue.
But you also have to face the fact that the video came from political circles. I mean, so come on. I mean, that's the way things work in political circles, isn't it? It doesn't have to be truthful like you're asking.
No, it doesn't have to be truthful. But then again, it goes back to what Dominica just experienced, George. Dominica went through this spate of violence because of the way elections were run. Yes? There was a lot of conversation about election, about reform of the electoral process and campaign financing. We're not paying attention to that. And if the social partners are party to what is happening, I take a bet with you right now that the elections will be called in Grenada and we're going to have those same questions.
Do you believe?
campaign financing,
Yeah.
election and reform of the electoral process. And at some point in time, it will be a week before elections, and somebody will say, well, it's too late for us to address these issues.
How many years have we been talking about it? And I mean, you know, even the observer missions, you know, and by the way, something that came out on the Make We Chat program last night is that the panelists seem to have little regard now for the observer missions, and I'm talking about people like the CARICOM mission, the Commonwealth, the OAS. Anyhow, before we go too far, I don't want to exclude my people here. So Peter Belfont says, yes, Mr. Pitt, and they very well know that Gudday Grenada has a strong following. It's a government strategy to rebound after kicking their wounds from the Al Jazeera tape. Lawrence is there with us this morning. Isaac says, good day, George and Brian. What's up my sleeve today? It's the Liverall lands and who owns it and the rights of citizens to wander through public lands. At the entrance is a sign posted saying private property. Ernesto says, I think that video is to discredit the Al Jazeera investigation and how corrupted the PM is. That's your words, Ernesto, not mine. And also attempt to damage the image of the NDC party. You agree? You disagree?
Yes, of course. Of course, I agree. I think the documentary talks about the infighting within the NDC, but the people who are causing the infighting in the NDC are not part of the NNP.
Yeah.
George.
Yeah.
You know, one can take that whole thing apart. You know, so it's damage control, and it will probably serve some useful purpose to the rank and file of the party.
John says payday loans have crazy repayment penalties. Beware.
Again, it's an issue that we are not addressing, George. You know, and that concerns me.
Margaret responds to him by saying, definitely, John, payday loans are a no-no.
But George, you know what jumped out to me again this week? The Prime Minister of Antigua put out a statement suggesting that Mr. McIntyre, who works for the IMF, I believe, that he is going to arrange to get him fired if Mr. McIntyre cannot prove that the voice on a tape talking about the corruption in this region, affecting the economic growth of the region, if Mr. McIntyre cannot prove that that is not his voice. I think that in a nutshell, that is what it said. But what's instructive to me is that the Prime Minister of Antigua recognized that as Prime Minister of Antigua, he is Mr. McIntyre's boss as a member of the IMF. These administrators and prime ministers, George, know exactly who they are in, because organizations like the IMF and the World Bank work for them. Yes, George? Mm-hmm. And once you identify who you are, then these technocrats who might be calling a spade, who recognize there are problems in this region with corruption, will be called on the coals and probably lose their jobs. Now, George, I believe the issue of correspondent banks in this region is going to become a major issue. And it's going to become a major issue because I don't have the numbers, but I suspect that a lot of money is going through this region. And the level of commerce that is being conducted does not justify the quantum of money that is flowing through this region. Yes, George? If those numbers, George, are correct, it's going to cause some problems here.
Pardon me?
If those numbers are correct, it's going to cause some problems.
Do yourself a favor, go to the GRENADABROADCAST.com website later on today or sometime on the weekend and listen to last night's edition of Make We Chat. because the whole banking scenario here in the Caribbean was a huge, I mean, huge issue.
It should be a major concern for the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank and Mr. Antoine, because it is going to get worse, George. It is going to get worse. Before I leave, George, I want to...
No, you ain't going yet, because I got some things for you. You ain't going anywhere. Hold on, hold straight. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have been listening to the dialogue concerning TAMCC, TMR Community College, and the payment to these workers. I know one worker said to me recently, so Mr. Pitt, how can government put up their hands and say they're not responsible for these payments when government appoints our board? And when he said that to me, I said to him, but wait, hold on a minute. How can you say you're not responsible when you are appointing the board that runs the institution? No, these guys really believe people are fools.
Whatever happened to logic?
That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Margaret says, Brian, correspondent banking is not going to become an issue. It is already an issue. I have someone in my office who is having problems with that right now.
George, I know an individual who has an Airbnb project, who had money coming through an existing bank who has now left the country. And that money will be cleared in about a day or two. Right now, it takes them 2 weeks to clear those funds. Mm-hmm. It is a problem. And it's a problem that we need to address it.
Kipling says we should concern ourselves more about what we can do to stop this train wreck. There is not enough time left to mention all the wrongs of this government. Peter Belfont says, Pilgrims, these videos are classic reminders of what the electorate have to be confronted with. No smoke without fire. You've heard that.
Propaganda, George, propaganda. Propaganda is going to win out all the time, unless you have a way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
You have a source who sent you that tape 4 times.
4 times.
The internet is a major factor in elections as we go forward. So whoever is internet savvy can get information out there. Will probably have a major say in the next election, and that takes money.
Yeah. All right, Brian, I think you were trying to get out of this particular issue a little while ago. Let me turn to one more here. Andel and Associates, you heard of the closure, and you heard about, I'm sure you heard the statement that was issued by the administration. What say you, sir?
George, that's a difficult issue. And it's an issue that I hope will resolve itself over time. It has a tremendous effect on the 200 to 300 people who work for Andels and their families. There's a multiplier effect here, because a lot of those people are young people. A lot of those people are salespeople or stock people. Now, Andel, as I understand it, is a company that was not unionized. So there is going to be some issue as to compensation for some of these workers. But, it's coming at an awful time of year. And I don't know that the cat is already out of the bag, George. The mere fact that Mr. Andel had to complain that his checks were being returned concerned me, because that is the man's reputation now you're playing with. Yeah? I would imagine that the powers that be would like to get their hands on the proceeds from the sale of the property in St. George's.
The Huggins.
Yes. But this might be the wrong way to go about doing that.
But again, that's only speculation.
Yes, of course that is speculation.
Okay.
But it is, he just sold a major property, and there would be income from that property, and all of a sudden this issue pops up. There must be some correlation, George.
Yeah. what about, I don't think the government came out and said it outright, but they're suggesting that, taxes were not paid. If that is in fact the case, that is an issue as well.
Of course. I mean, people have to pay their taxes. For one reason or another, the company may not have paid the taxes due. There could be a cash flow problem. I have no idea what the problems are. But it's an issue that I believe warrants some intervention from the highest sources, maybe the cabinet of the country.
I've heard this excuse before. They didn't have money to pay taxes, but, as a tiny businessman myself, yes, I collect VAT from the the 2 or 3 people who advertise with me. But I pay.
But you see, George, I just lost you. You hear me?
I see here that your internet connection is
You're freezing up
unstable.
on me, George.
Pardon me?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Hello?
Hi, I'm hearing you. Brian?
George, you're frozen.
So are you, but I'm hearing you loud and clear. Hello, Brian. Don't go. You're frozen, sir. And he says, I'm frozen. You got 2 freezies here this morning. Brian? Okay. Ay. There he goes. Brian's gone. Okie doke, folks. Let's hope that he's going to resurface. Okay. There's a note here from Margaret. She says, I know a consultant based in Grenada that organizations such as PAHO, the European Union, and others are having difficulty paying because they can't readily find a correspondent bank. Yeah. There are a lot of issues out there. She also says here, if taxes were not paid, this is referring to the Ando and Associates issue, doesn't government have to bear responsibility also? It points to a level of incompetence and ineffectiveness in not collecting taxes that are owed in a timely manner. Yeah. Okie doke, folks. I'll tell you what. Brian, everything's fine at this end here. We just don't seem to be able to reconnect with him. Good morning, Calvin Jacob, and thank you very much for joining us. Let's see, who else is here? Yeah. Okay. Just scroll back there a little bit. All right, folks, we're going to take a little break here, and when hopefully Brian will return.
GRENLEC continues to celebrate 25 years of partnership and growth. So this December, we're giving every customer the chance to spin and win. Just pay your bill in full on or before December 18th. Then, on Wednesday, December 18th, join us at any GRENLEC customer care location. Spin to win giveaways that will make this season even more festive. Hams, groceries, gift vouchers, wine, electricity vouchers, and more. Join the celebration. December 18th, spin and win with GRENLEC. Visit our website or Facebook page for more information. Terms and conditions apply.
Why wish upon a star? For a bank is better by far. Whatever you're wishing for this Christmas, we'll give you low interest and no fuss.
Co-op Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Co-op Bank and you.
Welcome home.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Because your vehicle is a necessity, being roadworthy is critical. Hubbard's Motor Department introduces its new tire and battery sales and service outlet located at Building Supplies Compound in Grand Dams, close to the Sugar Mill Roundabout. Available are a wide range of competitively priced tires, maintenance-free batteries, oils and lubricants. Keeping in mind your busy schedule, this outlet is equipped to provide you with fast and reliable service. Simply drive in and you'll be delighted with your service experience. For more information, contact 440-2087. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
All right, folks. There's a WhatsApp. Let's see here from Brian. Let me see what this is. George, I lost you. Yeah, we know you. We lost you too, Brian. Okay, folks, there's some comments here I want to share with you before we get to the national report. First of all, Margaret says, also makes one ask how many more businesses are in the same situation and what is the government doing to address that? Good question, Mags. Rodney Morris says, based on information received, it's not just taxes, Mr. George, but VAT. Well, VAT is a tax, okay? He says, these are taxes paid by people on goods purchased from these companies. These taxes belong to the government. That's the point I was trying to make, Rodney. You know, a lot of people jump on the government because they have an axe to grind or they just don't like the government or what have you. But come on, I mean, even the scriptures tell us, pay to Caesar what is Caesar's. You owe taxes, pay taxes. Because little people like me, we're squinting, but we pay our taxes. Okay. Kipling Francis says, there's more to this tax story. As Paul Harvey would say, we will hear the rest of the story just in time. Yaman. Rachel John says, Andal's used to not paying tax. When the NDC was in power, he was confronted. It was NAS this and NAS that. But he didn't have to close. There's something in the mats we don't know. Margaret says, not disputing that, but it is also government's responsibility to collect taxes in a timely manner. Additionally, Ando is not the only business that owes government tax. Ain't that the truth, Mace? And she says, that is an open secret. Hello. Okay, Brian. Yes, Brian. Okay, Brian. Yeah, that's Brian. Brian, you're going to have to hang on there for a sec. John says, Rodney should be disclosing things like this. Rodney should be disclosing things like this as you're a government employee. Don't know where you're coming from. Rodney says, Mr. Pitt asked where the government gets its revenue from. Among other areas, taxation is one of the major areas in which every government receives revenue. Okay, folks, tell you what, let's go right now to the national report while I have a little chat here with Brian.
Residents affected by broken road in Molineux may have to face a relocation. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Thursday, December 12th, I am Rikisha St. Louis. Infrastructure Development Minister Honorable Gregory Bowen says residents in close proximity to the broken road in Molineux will have to relocate as intervention is urgently required to address the land slippage in that area. Traffic will be diverted in the area effective Friday, December 13th to facilitate geotechnical and engineering studies and design work on the road section between Mount Morris Junction and Molineux. Speaking with the Government Information Service on site on Thursday, Minister Bowen said the situation is a community national disaster issue and not simply a road problem.
Some of the people here must move. They may take the chance and say, I don't want to move. You may find a solution, but the solution may be sinking plane or just getting off the topsoil. The solution to this may be the relocation of all the houses and getting down to the plain where you have solid rock, but a road cannot stay at this time. We may have to relocate the road. So it's a big problem that we recognized a long time ago.
Working with the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force, the Ministry of Infrastructure Development, Public Utilities, Energy, Transport and Implementation says effective Friday, 13th December from 7 a.m., heavy trucks will not be allowed to use the Western Main Road. All heavy trucks and trailers are advised to use the Eastern Main Road and other alternative routes. Effective Monday, 16th December, from 7 a.m., all other vehicles are advised to use the Mount Morris Concrete Road to facilitate the traffic coming from St. John, St. Mark and St. Patrick towards St. George, and Jones Road to facilitate the traffic coming from St. George towards the western side.
We will be closing the road from Monday. I think you have looked at the bypasses. The police gave detailed information on the roads that we'll use so that we can get a one-way traffic, right? And the only two-way traffic will be from the main road a little lower down going up to Mount Morris. That's the only place we'll have two-way traffic, maybe 400 feet or something like that. But the rest to going around there will be one-way. Obviously, you may find a vehicle coming from here in the next direction, but that will most likely be a homeowner who is living in the particular area. So I want to take the opportunity now to thank in advance the homeowners, because it is a residential area and you will have a significant amount of traffic, going there. So we hope that within a couple of months, we'll have a detailed design on how to solve this. And that detailed design maybe remove the road, remove the building, do plates, sheets, and you have piles and so. Could be sheet piles that you go down to stop the plane from shifting. But we'll wait on them to see exactly what the solution will be. And even if we could fix this road, I say again, some ask, why don't you go and curve on the side? Now you see these tires? That you might call is an innovative way of preventing the slip lanes right from the top. But if you remove it, that doesn't mean that the slip lane would not continue below here or would not continue from the top. That's what the geotechnical study will tell us from where the slippage is starting and how we can find a solution to this.
Minister Bowen says when former UK Prime Minister David Cameron visited the region a few years ago, Grenada received $28 million and the grant was distributed in two main areas, to Nawassa and to address slips on the Western Main Road.
So part of that project, $16 million project, is to do the geotechnical studies for this area and other areas along the Western Main Road. You do not simply come and change the road or say you're repairing the road. This is not a normal road where you have good solid foundation. We recognize that you have problems and slips in these areas. And that is why the consultants have already been shortlisted even before we close the road. We have been monitoring and we realize that the deterioration rate has increased. So therefore we close the road for the safety of the motorists as well as the residents in the area.
The minister commended residents in the area who engaged an engineering firm to advise on the best course of action, but he says the firm the government is hiring will be of international standard. The Royal Grenada Police Force says strict penalties will be enforced on drivers who fail the soon-to-be-implemented breathalyzer test. The RGPF is optimistic that the rollout of the test will deter drivers from excessively consuming alcohol while driving and so will introduce a culture of safe road use. Head of the Traffic Department Superintendent Randy Connaught says in 2017, amendments were made to the road traffic legislation to add breathalyzer testing. Under the legislation, the limit stated is 70 micrograms of alcohol to 100 milliliters of breath and 160 micrograms of alcohol to 100 milliliter of blood. He says the law gives officers the right to test a driver upon reasonable cause of suspicion and also arrest the driver without a warrant.
Section 62B, subsection 1 of the Act states, where a member of the police force has reasonable cause to suspect that a person driving or attempting to drive or in charge of a motor vehicle on the road has alcohol in his or her breath or blood exceeding the prescribed limit. And the limit we speak of in the case of alcohol breath, it is 70 micrograms of alcohol in 100 milliliters of breath. And in the case of blood, 160 milligrams of alcohol in 100 milliliters of blood, or any portion as may be prescribed by regulation. So the regulation is subject to change over time.
Any driver who fails the test can be charged before a magistrate and receive a maximum charge of $10,000 and 2 years imprisonment.
Upon first conviction, the individual can be fined up to $5,000 or imprisonment up to 12 months. And in the case of a second or subsequent offenses, up to $10,000 or 2 years in prison. I hope that resonates well within the minds of the general public. It is supposed to be a deterrent first and foremost, but the consequences are very grave, and I want us to take cognizance of this.
The breathalyzer test will be officially introduced before the end of this month. This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
Did you join the public service on or after February 22nd, 1985 and have since retired? This might be important to you. Government understands that the NIS pension may be insufficient to take care of your needs. So, while it awaits the court's ruling on the matter of pension for public officers, government has taken action to protect your quality of life so that you can take care of your needs in the meantime. Persons who joined the public service on or after February 22nd, 1985 and serve continuously in an established position for a minimum 26 years and 8 months and retired at age 60 may be eligible to receive an advance payment, which when combined with NIS represents 70% of their last salary. For more information, call or visit the Pension Secretariat in the Department of Public Administration, Ministerial Complex, 440-3767.
Welcome back. 25 officers are now trained and certified to conduct the breathalyzer test throughout Grenada. The equipment, which is part of a US $45,000 grant from the St. George's University, will be placed at 10 of the 15 police stations along with trained officers to operate it. Training was conducted in March 2019 by Rose International, a Trinidad-based company.
Okay, we have a total of 25 police officers across the island receiving training. Out of the 25, there are 10 persons trained for on the units that will be operated at the police station. So the field testing operations, a total of 25 officers, and for what I would refer to as the home units at the station, we have 10 supervisors trained in that respect. Over a 3-day period, it was very intense over a 3-day period. It was during the month of March of 2019, and although very intense, but every officer, upon completion of the training, received a certificate.
On Thursday, the RGPF held a demonstration of the equipment for members of the media.
So the officer first identified himself or herself, informed the driver of his observation, which might be serving on the road, it might be the smell of alcohol, or it might be empty alcohol bottles in his or her vehicle. And he expressed his intention to perform the breathalyzer test. So the officer will introduce the device and invite the driver to blow a sample of his or her breath into the device. If the driver cooperates and blows into the device, a reading may or may not be recorded on the device. If no reading is recorded, the driver is allowed to leave without any sanction.
ACP Jessamine Prince says the force has been assured that the partnership with the Trinidad company guarantees maintenance and supplies.
Rose International, Rose Company, will provide us with the supplies that are needed, and that is mostly the expendable items like the tubes that you're blowing. Those are one that has to be in constant supply, and any other equipment that is needed, they are readily available to provide for us just from Trinidad.
Finally, in the news, the Ministry of Health says due to ongoing remedial work at the Birth and Death Department, Ministry of Health, the department will be closed on Friday, December 13th. Services are being relocated to the former Houses of Parliament office, which is situated at the top road of the ministerial complex, and will become effective Monday, December 16th. The ministry says requests for certificates can be made at the respective district offices, and every effort will be made to restore services at the main office as soon as possible. That story just ended the national report for today, Thursday, December 12th. Let's recap the top story. Residents affected by a broken road in Molineux may have to face relocation. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Okie dokie, there goes your national report to wrap up a week. Quick comment here, Margaret says, and this is about the breathalyzer test. Margaret says, I think we should also add to that, holding bar owners, party hosts, etc., responsible for giving an already drunk person more drinks and allowing them to get behind the wheel of a car. This is an issue that has to be everybody's responsibility if change is to come. Okay, pilgrims, quick break, and then we'll come back. Say bye-bye.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this. Where you get that? At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Why wish upon a star? For a bank is better by far. Whatever you're wishing for this Christmas, will give you low interest and no fuss.
Co-op Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Co-op Bank and you.
Christmas safety tips. Always unplug Christmas tree lights before leaving home or going to sleep. Check your tree lights and outdoor lights for damage each year before you use them. Discard lights with frayed wires, loose connections, and cracked sockets. Do not overload your wall outlets or extension cords. Remind children never to touch lights or outlets. Select lights appropriately. Never use indoor lights outside or vice versa. Happy holidays from Grenlek.
Okie doke, folks. It's now, let's see here, 6 minutes after the hour, 6.5 minutes after 10 o'clock. As we pull the curtain down on this Friday edition of Gudday Grenada, parting word from the Holy Scriptures. Today's reading comes to you from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 5, verses 8, 9, and 10. If you see the poor oppressed in a district, and justice and rights denied, do not be surprised at such things. For one official is eyed by a higher one, and over them both are others higher still. The increase from the land is taken by all. The king himself profits from the fields. Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless. Pilgrims, Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 8 to 10. On that note, kind of dark around here, but I'm not hearing any rain out there, so it's probably subsided for just a wee bit. I do wish you and yours a wonderful weekend. Thank you for keeping us company here throughout the course of this week. We look forward, to having you join us on Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, for the next edition of Sundays with George Grant. And also Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By the way, before I forget, you know I've been reminding you about this every day so far this week. Starting the Wednesday before Christmas, a week before Christmas, I've been asking you folks to think of one good thing. Just one. If you can think of more, great. But one good thing that has happened to you in 2019. Just one. And during that week, share it with us, starting the Wednesday before Christmas, okay? I think Christmas is on a Wednesday this year. So yeah, we'll have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. We'll have 5 days to play around on this. I just want to hear about some nice things that have been happening in this country. Yeah, in spite of all the mess in this place, good things have been happening. And if you choose to ignore those good things, I feel sorry for you. You're a very sad person. Very. Good things have happened. Sometimes you just put on blinkers and choose not to see them. So share with us. I'm going to remind you again next week. God bless you, my dear friends, and by His grace, we'll see you on Sunday morning and again on Monday. Bye.